A revolutionary. Say whoa. Trap revolutionary. Got the wave of too scary. Doing this thing like Malcolm ain't by any means necessary. We ain't got it by no one seen hand. We got the master plan. Get the move.
What's going on, y'all? Y'all wanna do this video real quick. We're really following up for the video I had did yesterday. So come to find out today, Trump reversed his basically his 20% fee that he said he was wanting to charge for protection for the Gulf states, those particular countries passing through the Strait of Hormuz, saying that it's going to be replaced. You know, that proposal for the fee will be replaced with what he said, investment by the Gulf states, right?
I have two questions. I was wondering if you could explain your changing thinking on the Strait of Hormuz, applying a 20% fee. How did you get to the decision you just announced?
So when I put that out yesterday, because we've been doing that for many, many years, it was never fair to me that we would be guarding the strait when we basically don't take anything. We don't need the oil at all. And it wasn't important for us, but it was important for allies. It was important for people that we get along with very well, including the major Gulf state countries. So I put it out yesterday. I thought it was good. I was called by different people, different countries, kings and emirs and all of the people that we all know and we all love. And they've been very strong partners. And they said, we'd love to do it a different way. We'd love to invest in the United States with billions and billions of dollars and continue our record setting, because there's never been a time like this with the United States, with the factories, with the plants, with everything else. And we would like to invest tremendously in the United States as opposed to charging a fee. And I like that, actually, because I don't think anybody should be able to charge a fee for the strait or for any other strait relationship in terms of other sections of the world. I don't think anybody should be really in that position. But we were doing it as a reimbursement. The Gulf states are going to invest a tremendous amount of money into the United States, and that was very satisfactory to me. I think it's actually much better.
I guess in the American economy, which he's saying, those investments will be massive. It'll be good for them, those countries that are investing, into the United States. So he said he decided to replace the 20% United States reimbursement fee. Like I said, those particular, ships or whatever from certain countries pass through the Strait of Hormuz with oil or whatever, energy, sources that they have, pass through the Strait of Hormuz. He said he's decided to rescind that 20% reimbursement fee for countries passing through the Strait of Hormuz and replacing it with new investment deals, from those Gulf states. Basically, replace the United States reimbursement fee of 20% with trade and investment deals from various Gulf states. You know what I'm saying? And the reason he say he rescinded that is because he received a lot of calls from, leaders of the Gulf states, in that region. So I guess Qatar, must be other countries over there, maybe Saudi Arabia. I guess what's other countries over there? Because they call them some Gulf states. They actually, it's like a certain name that they call it. But that's what he's saying now, because he got calls from those those particular Gulf states. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. So yeah, he said he, I guess, received calls from them, and so he decided to rescind that or renege on that 20 reverse that 20% fee that he planned to impose. But anyway, man, I just like this dude. He and then if you think about it, he kind of even talks like like an adolescent, like, you know, it's gonna be we're gonna hit them hard, you know, like when he's talking about doing the strikes, we're gonna hit them hard and fast. They're gonna be, you know, like they won't know what hit them. Like, bro, you talking like that, like as a president? Like, you sound like a little kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like even what he said with the Gulf state, you know, like the investments. He's talking about, you know, the investment, you know, from the Gulf states. You know, he's like, oh, you know, those investments would be massive. You know, like, bro, you sound like a 12-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, who talks like that? You know, yeah, we're gonna hit them hard and fast. They won't know what hit them. Like, you supposed to be president. You know what I'm saying? Then he like, oh, because he did make a comment like, oh, the U.S. don't need any oil. Also, with us taking control of Venezuela's oil, you know, we're in basically we control 50%, over 50% of the world's oil. You know, so, you know, he's saying that the United States doesn't need it, right? But, you know, they're seeking to control Iran, you know, the Strait of Hormuz and, you know, that area, you know, just, like I said, started behind them saying that they don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon, you know, and as far as like the capabilities or anything like that, you know, said from what I understand, they did have components of nuclear weapon, you know, like a high concentration. They had some, you know, like components which would be a high concentration of cobalt, not cobalt, but it's a particular mineral, I believe, or chemical that a high concentration of it could, you know, you could make a nuclear weapon from it. Matter of fact, have a so I'm finna. I know the name of it, but I just had to be clear because I just wanted to, you know, actually say. I know it's a particular name for it. It's like a mineral, uranium. That's it, uranium. So you create a nuclear weapon, a high concentration of specific fissile materials are required. Most commonly uranium-235, which is U-235, and plutonium-239. So it was said that they had high concentrations of that, from what I understand. So, you know, this all comes down to that, you know, that particular issue. United States not wanting Iran to have a nuclear weapon, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't have one per se, like I said before in the prior video, you know, so it's just, we got a boom pow president, you know, like down like Batman, you know what I'm saying? Boom pow wowzers, you know, type. Wait, this dude, you know what I'm saying? Conversation like, man, where is you know? And he said the strait basically is open to all ship traffic except Iran, and that oil is flowing like never before, thanks to the awesome power of the United States military. Like, bro, yeah, I'm just really like, I'm really concerned. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do we have in there as a president? Like, this dude is an imbecile. Like, really, yeah, I really believe he's an imbecile, like, for real. You know, and the crazy part about it is he got there based on a platform of division. Not bringing the country together, not making the country stronger, but a platform of division. You know, make America great again. You know, which you done nothing to make the country great. You know what I'm saying? You know, you started off like you was going to do something, but eventually, you know, you start chipping away at civil rights laws that's been in place. DEI that's been in place. You know, certain governmental programs, you know, dealing with SNAP and certain other welfare benefits. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, like, you know, you jacking people for their oil. making enemies. Like I'm just nah. That's not making America great. You're stealing resources or pillaging countries for their resources. Not making America great. You talking about bringing jobs back over here and stuff like that, and having companies, like the big seven or with Apple, Microsoft, the big companies, Nvidia, to invest back in the United States. Some of those companies did, but for the overall benefit of the United States, you sought to enrich yourself, which you have done. Crypto, your other ventures, beyond that, you basically have sought to enrich yourself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're not enriching the nation. The office of the president, I was saying, I was standing on this, the office of the president of the United States is to enrich the nation, not yourself. But, like I said, I'm gonna have my detractors. I know people gonna get on here and say, oh, I'm tripping, or, the president, he can do, it's Donald Trump. You stop bragging on the president, or, the president can do whatever. But okay, then what about us though? You know what I'm saying? If you're for helping the people, help the people, really help the people, instead of dividing the country, and using it for your own political gain, your own benefit, But anyway, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, it's got to be something, like I said before, some level of sensibility towards, what is right and what is really, helpful for us all, the nation as a whole. Shit, you out there making enemies and jacking people before they are. Yeah, you think people just gonna let you come into their country and and not wrong revenge or try to do something about it? Like, nah, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, are you to dictate to people? It's just, like I said, everybody's not going to accept it. Even in this sense, even though those Gulf states are probably, weaker, right? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they said something. It's like, hey, man, I said in my prior video, this is not going to 20% fee for people, you talking about you provide protection. People ain't going for that. They called. He said he got, a lot of calls from the Gulf leaders, about that fee. So, yeah, man, it's like, yeah, that's just what it is. Everybody's not going for it, just because you say, what you want it to be, But anyway, man, I'm gonna get up out here. I just wanted to get on here, like I said, and say that, and just really, talk about this, because, like I said, man, we have a president he's not for the people. And I'm just saying it like that. Yeah, we are the people. We in this country, man. You know what I'm saying? We the people make the country great. You talking about you gonna make the country. I guess I don't know. You must got some form of hallucinations or something. You know what I'm saying? But the people make the country great. You put your people in position to make the country great. Same thing with a coach, man. A great coach gonna put his players in position to win. That's what you do as a president. But hey, man, we got somebody that's, to me, it's not making any sense. But anyway, yeah, I just want to get on here and say that. I hope y'all out there doing well, living life for the love and happiness, doing great, strive for greatness every day. I appreciate y'all liking, sharing, commenting on the video. Like I said, we can agree or we can disagree. If we disagree, we can hash it out. But I will be respectful towards y'all. I just ask y'all to be respectful towards me. Until next one, y'all. Love y'all. All right, y'all.
Fuck it, go ahead and blow off the dough. Step through the maze, man, and became amazing. About to rewrite history and change the page in a crooked book that never told us the true story. Like how we were kings and queens before the slave story, before the killing, stealing, and drug dealing on some real shit. We ran the world.